Hello and welcome back to the show. I'm Ron Burgundy filling in for Antonio for today. And it's really Antonio. I'm just dressed up as Ron Burgundy because it's Halloween. So let's get to the news. First, we're going to start off with some girls cross country, some football, and some boys cross country. But let's start with the boys. They had a pretty good year. They finished third in the American Conference. They will in the Suburbans. They had 4 guys who were in the top 15. And the only team that had more was Wissahickon, which had 7, and they were number 1 in the conference. So they had a nice season. It was productive, and they did their job. For football, the Panthers had a good season, but they struggled. They couldn't really get it going when they needed to get it going. They had a game against PW that they lost last Friday. And if they would have won that game and then won this week, there's a chance they could have made a push for maybe not Suburbans, but at least the playoffs. But they're going to fall short again. And now to girls cross country. The team itself didn't have a good year, but Cheltenham's very own Sarah Richart finished 3rd in Suburbans, and the team finished 5th. It was an up and down season with a lot of missing players, but they pulled through. And we'll be right back with Sarah Richart. Hello, we're back with the lovely Sarah Richart. Now, Sarah, you guys came as a team in 5th in Suburbans. You had a tough year, but you came out pretty well in the end.
Yeah, we had a lot of girls back and forth because of injuries and vacations and stuff. So we did have a smaller team this year, but coming 5th was actually really great considering I think we didn't move up in our ranks from dual meets, but we didn't go down. So we were pretty happy with it.
You finished 3rd in the American Conference. I mean, what was that like?
It was definitely different from last year where I finished 11th, and it was really great. I was kind of surprised about it, but it was definitely really fun. The girl that came in first was from Wissahickon, and she's kind of always there. She's really, really good, so I'm trying to beat her next year, so hopefully that goes well.
I know you didn't make Suburbans I know you didn't make the playoffs this year. I mean, states. And you're still a junior, so you still have 1 more year. I mean, is the goal states? Is it just to beat the girl from Wissahickon? Or?
Hopefully it's to make it to states, which I have to drop some time. It's top 40 in the whole district. So this year I finished 52nd, so I would have to drop about 20 more seconds off my time. But I can definitely do it because I have a whole nother year or 2. So yeah, that's the goal for next year, and to beat Lotta Black from Wissahickon.
All right, thank you. Here we are, and we'll be right back with the backroom confession. Hello, and we're back with always cheerful Coach Gro. Now, Coach,
Yes.
You guys have had a pretty good season. I mean, really kind of better expectation. You've kind of done better than what people expected. The new quarterback, really a lot of new players playing for the first time.
Our expectations actually were different than what you're saying. We felt we had a lot of really important players coming back. We lost the 2 best football players on our team, Mark Hyman and Chris Myrick. The next 10 best football players on the team last year came back. So when we started off 1-3, we were very disappointed. We've won 4 games in a row. So we're feeling a little better. We're not there yet, but we have improved. In reality, it's not really known, but the defense hasn't been scored on in 3 weeks. The last 3 games, the defense hasn't given up a touchdown or a point. So we're showing some improvement, but we're hoping that, in the next 4 weeks that we'll continue to evolve and reach the level that we had hoped for.
And you're talking about how you start off slow. I mean, you lost a really tough game against Upper Dublin.
The people that we lost to right now, if you looked at their records, Quakertown's undefeated. Upper Dublin is 7-1. And CB East is a good team in a large conference, and they're 4-4. So it's not like we didn't play ballot opponents, but we certainly would have liked to, one, have played better, two, won at least one or two of those.
Yeah.
That's what our goal was, to come out at least 2-1 after those. We didn't, so we were disappointed, and now we're trying to right ourselves. We have a really good Plymouth White Marsh team tomorrow night, and if we can get, all of this working together, we're hoping for a successful evening.
And, if you do beat PW, the expectation is obviously high to finish the rest of the season off strong. So let's talk what ifs. If you beat PW, do you expect to win Suburbans?
If we beat Plymouth White Marsh, we have another pretty good opponent the following week. Hatboro Horsham is in our league this year, and we'll play them week 10. So we'd have to win those two games, and then we have to get hope that somebody, which in all reality is highly unlikely, would beat Upper Dublin. Mm-hmm. We're going to need somebody else's help besides our own. So we're only concerned with what we're doing, and we want to come out tomorrow and play really good football and hopefully find success against a pretty good team.
I mean, you mentioned it earlier that you guys lost Brandon. You lost Mark Hyman, Chris Meyer, and Brandon Mack, and Jameel Milligan Bates, and Matt Tuzel. Have done a nice job replacing those guys. I mean, how have you seen it progress for this season?
I see some, progression. I see some growth, and then I see some where I think that we should be better. I think that, each of the guys you mentioned and all of the other guys who you didn't mention all have reached levels, and I believe that, in all honesty, that their levels are higher than where they are at this moment, each one of the kids that are there. So I'm trying to encourage them and push them and motivate and use any strategy I can to get them to reach that level. And if we do, then, we'll finish the year off and it'll be a really positive thing. But that, once again, goes back to starting tomorrow night. And we're trying to get them to understand that.
Oh, thank you, Coach. Best of luck against PW.
Ms. Palula, if you can, he's promised me a chicken cutlet sandwich, and I'm going to the source for the chicken cutlet sandwich. Anytime you can, on a roll would be awesome. Thank you very much, dear. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you, Coach Gro. We'll be right back. Hello, and welcome back to the show. And since this is our playoffs episode, let's talk playoffs, but college playoffs. See what I did. And it's really interesting what people are complaining about this college system is that we haven't even gotten into the playoff, and the people are already complaining is that the 5th and 6th teams are going to complain. Well, it was the same thing with 3 and 4 complained when they didn't get in to the play. But again, that's not here or there. And let's talk just the teams that are looking really good that couldn't make it. I think FSU is a little bit overrated. I think they're still going to get in. Florida State, of course. I think Jameis Winston is fine. He'll figure it out. He'll get in, and they'll probably win. And I really hope they play Alabama. Better yet, Auburn. Yeah, you see what I did there? I went with, you think Alabama? No. It's a rematch of the BCS last year. And that was a good game. People always say it wasn't good. That was a great game. It was very entertaining. It was to the last second. Honestly, one of the best college football games I've seen in years. Number one, still Baylor, TCU from a couple of years ago. Andy Dalton was at TCU. Robert Griffin. It was a good game. Look it up. Another team that I think could make the playoffs is, like I just said, I think Auburn. But I think that Auburn really comes down to the Auburn-Alabama game. I think it really does depend on who wins that game, gets in. I think there's no way Alabama and Auburn can both get in because whoever beats who in that. I think if Auburn and Alabama, if either of those teams get in, they have to play 3 playoff games. And those are always great games, especially when both teams are good. That's going to be exciting. I was really hoping the Ducks got in. Oregon's really good. They're really interesting, really fast paced. It's really, this playoff was kind of made for Oregon. They were always the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th team in the rankings. They were never 1 or 2. They got to the BCS one year against Cam Newton and Auburn, but lost. But it was still a good game. It was still a good game, but I want to kind of see Mariota play. I think Mariota's really talented. I think he's not going to be a good college football quarterback because he doesn't really have the talent around him that people say he has. I think Oregon, they've kind of lost players and lost like talent since Chip Kelly left. I know it's only been 2 years, but it just seems like he's been gone for 10 years there. I mean, it seems completely different. Now, the state of Mississippi. Stop. Go home. Leave. We don't want you here. Bye. Leave. We didn't want Mississippi in here. We wanted Pac-12, SEC, Florida State, not the ACC. Florida State's the only good school. But we wanted these schools fighting for a national championship. We didn't want Mississippi. Go home. You can take your Heisman. Just don't ruin our playoffs, please. Don't ruin our already ruined playoffs. Please. That's it. That's all we got. Thank you to Sarah, Coach Gro, Thomas, and Franny working in the back. Thank you, Ferriola, for everything you do. Who else? I think that's about it. Go State College? Hopefully. I don't know. See you guys next episode. It'll be basketball.